Hello and welcome to Innovation Coffee, brought to you by ARM, where the coffee is hot and the innovation is hotter. I'm keeping that slogan there for a while, I think. My name is Robert Wolf, joined by Michael Hall, and we will be your hosts this week and every week as we take a deeper look at the ARM developer ecosystem and explore the many things going on in and around this exciting space. Each of these live streams will start with developer updates, followed by in-depth conversations about ARM and our growing developer ecosystem. Joined by featured ARM experts and partners from within ARM and our developer community, we will discuss a plethora of topics tailored for developers, showcase opportunities, explore resources, and bring new and exciting ARM developments to light. Each of these events will finish off with an audience Q&A. So if you have any questions, make sure you post those in our YouTube chat, and we'll address them as soon as we possibly can. Now, as a reminder, if you enjoy these episodes, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the ARM Software Developer YouTube channel. Now, in this episode, I know I said in the intro that we do talk with guests, but in this episode, we will not be having a guest. In fact, we're actually going to be talking about what happened last week on ARM. We're going to be showcasing some of the exciting things coming up in terms of where the evangelists in ARM might be, certain events we might be attending, certain fun initiatives we might be taking part in. So we have a lot to cover. I think Gabriel, our ex-co-host and now executive producer of the show, might be joining in to share some fun stuff of his own, things he's excited about. And Michael, of course, has some things on his list. But in short, I'd like to also, just kind of give a quick overview. We're going to be talking about the recent Leono Connect announcement, because the next event is happening in Madrid. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Hackster.io Impact Summit. We're going to talk about All Things Open, an event that Michael's going to be at. We're going to talk about the new A-profile architecture developments. We're going to talk about the new Raspberry Pi 5. Lots of cool stuff happening in this episode today. So, let's I think just get it rolling. Mike, what do you think we should start with? Should we start with events, upcoming events? Should we just start with the past?
Yeah, we got a bunch of events coming up. I think we should start with those.
Okay, so let's bring in this page here, if we could, so that we can show my screen share. So we have the first thing I think I'll cover. Last week, wasn't last week, was it 2 weeks ago with ARM TV? Our ARM TV series is a new and exciting live stream that we do, not really on a certain cadence, I would say, but we will be showcasing these I think we have 4 or 5 episodes lined up over the course of the next 6 months or so. And we had our first one on October 27th. And that one was with Anush Ansari. So she is the CEO and one of the founders of X Prize. She also went to space, and she gave a great presentation on the impacts of AI. And it was a really good one. Mary Bennion and myself, Mary from ARM as well, interviewed her, and maybe we'll get that link put in the description or brought up at some point here. Now, this upcoming one, which is going to happen on October 19th, is our second episode of ARM TV. It will be at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and I'm going to try to zoom in here a little bit so that we can get a better view of this. There we go. All right. And we're going to be speaking with Dr. Ruman Chowri, and she happens to be a AI fellow at Harvard University and the CEO, founder of Parity Consulting, as well as the former director of AI ethics at Twitter, now known as X. So she will be joining us on October 19th, and I think it's going to be a great episode. She's going to talk about democratizing AI and how developers are hacking AI to shape the future of humanity. This is, I think, a pretty exciting one, Mike. Maybe one of these episodes we can get you co-hosting on ARM TV.
Sure, if you want me to co-host that, I'm more than happy to.
I don't know, maybe
especially
not.
Anything AI. It's a hot topic right now.
You're going to have to fly him over to San Diego to be able to sit right next to you.
I know, right? Yeah. See, I brought Gabe into the camera here. There you go. See, he is sitting here right to my left. Okay, put your hand over here so they can see you. Hey, hello. Nice. But yeah, so anyways, it will be a fun, exciting episode. I think that Ruman Chowri, she gives talks all the time. I think it's going to be really, really good. Now, what you're going to need to do is head on over to the ARM TV site. Gabe, can we bring up that banner there? And check out the ARM TV website, as well as register for this episode. So if you are interested, I think that it would be something worth registering for and joining us on. Mike, you want to take over for All Things Open? I have the page actually right here.
Sure, yeah, that's coming up real quick this weekend, actually. So All Things Open happens over in Raleigh, North Carolina. So that's a lot closer to me than San Diego is. Still a bit of a drive though, but it's one of my favorite shows of all time. I've been there more years than I can remember now for several companies. It's just a really great, well-run show. The convention center is awesome. They get some incredible speakers in there, like really top-tier speakers, especially in the open source community. Some developers there, Red Hat's offices are like just a block down the street, I think, from the convention center. So there's so many developers, so many tech people. It's a great audience. We had like 4,000 people there last year, which for a post-COVID show is a pretty phenomenal number. So this year, ARM is sponsoring the hardware and IoT track over there. So we're going to have that room. I'll be in that room the whole weekend. I'll be able to introduce all of the different speakers and talk to people about ARM. I've got my own talk on Monday afternoon. So really looking forward to being back over there and speaking there again.
Wait, where's our logo? They didn't put our logo up here?
We're still like sorting out the last of the paperwork. It was a bit of a process because ARM's never sponsored before. We had to sign them up as a new vendor and all kinds of back and forth stuff.
Gotcha.
We are going to sponsor it. We are on there. Just a matter of getting all of the I's dotted and T's crossed on the contract, basically.
I think you dot the T's, Mike.
Dot the T's, cross the I's.
No, it looks like there's some great speakers here. This looks like a really good time, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of materials covered, lots of different technologies covered. We got CEO of HackerOne, developer advocate from Okta, head of community from AWS. This is probably
like I said, they get some big name speakers in there.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen Tessa speak before, but yeah, this looks pretty awesome. I hope you have a good time, and we'll make sure that, when you go do this, Mike, we'll open a channel on Discord so that you can share pictures of all the cool stuff that's happening and, of course, updates in terms of what's going on. Did you have it looks like you shared your screen here, too. Did you want to cover something else?
That's for later on. But I did also want to give a shout out to the Raleigh IoT meetup group, Riot. They are going to be hosting a demo night there, one of the nights that All Things Open. This is something they've done several years now where the Todd Lewis, who runs the event, opens up the space for this meetup group one evening, and they just have a bunch of people come in and demo the stuff that they've built for IoT spaces. A lot of industrial stuff, a lot of like telecom stuff, but really cool to see. Very nice. That looks really cool. Yeah, I mean, this schedule just looks packed. Oh, it looks like there's just so much stuff to do. And I'm not going to get to see most of it because I'll be hosting all of the tracks in my room. But I'll get to see all of the hardware and IoT ones. So I'm happy for that. Very nice. Okay, cool. Well, that is All Things Open. Let's move on to the next one. We've already talked about ARM TV. We've talked about the All Things Open. And Mike, I'm going to introduce the Hackster IO Impact Summit. But I want you to tell us about kind of your presentation because, and I'll even start with a little bit of a funny anecdote here. If you go search Hackster IO or Hackster Impact Summit, you're going to come across, oops, I accidentally opened a different window. If you search Hackster IO Impact Summit, watch, we're going to show you this. Hackster IO Impact Summit, and then you click Impact Summit. The event is happening yesterday and today, but you see, this was for last year. And so, Michael and I were hustling to get this content ready. Mike built his entire workshop and everything like super quick, though it turns out the event is not until next month. We were looking at the wrong dates. And so we have a whole month now to beef up this workshop and make it, more relatable. But so Hackster Impact Summit is a virtual event. Sorry, Mike, did you want to say something? Sorry about that. I just wanted to say, I put together that workshop. We had a 50-minute window. I had like one shot, first recording, like 45 minutes. Everything went more or less perfect. So like I was so happy that I got it in under the wire. And it was only after I did all that, I looked at the website again and noticed that 2022 on there. And then Gabe, you edited it, right? Like, did you get it all edited super quick for him?
Oh no, he was able to do it himself from outside StreamYard.
We didn't do any editing. It was, like I said, it was one take, one shot straight through.
Wow, very nice.
I was changing cameras in StreamYard and everything.
Nice. Well, yeah, so Impact Summit, very cool event. I'm looking forward to it. It is virtual, so anyone can attend it. And it is about resilient and sustainable cities. So Mike kind of thought about how can we, I was like, Mike, let's brainstorm this. Like, what kind of workshop could we do? It's about resilient and sustainable cities. And he's like, well, he went in and researched all of the other sessions that are happening at this summit, and he was like, hey, what if we built like an embedded 101 workshop, like basically kind of showing that, hey, you're building these really cool things for embedded or for resilient and sustainable cities, but did you know that you are in fact an embedded developer? And did you know that being an embedded developer means that you are capable of doing this, or that you should know these things? And so Mike, if you want to talk a little bit more about your session, and then we can kind of dive into some of these keynote speakers, because Kate here is an amazing person.
Yeah, so I looked at some of the like workshops and talks and the demos that they already had listed on their website, and they're really cool things, but very like complex. You have to understand how everything works together in the stack. And my thought was, if you don't already know this is going to be really daunting to you. Like if you're coming from like making Android apps or doing like .NET web development, and you see some of these things, you're not going to think, oh, I can get into that. I can start doing that, because it seems so foreign. I had that when I first started, working with ARM. Everything felt so foreign. This embedded world is so different from traditional application development, which is why I thought, we can get more people involved building these devices and like smart tech that we need for resilient cities, if we start teaching people how to start doing that, like from the ground level. So that's what my workshop is. It's designed for people who have application development experience, but not embedded. And it's two parts. It's a presentation that kind of walks you through the differences between the traditional programming you're used to and what it's like in an embedded world. And then a hands-on workshop where I like connect pieces together on a breadboard with a Raspberry Pi Pico. I show you the programming for it to make it all work, and walk you through how that whole process works, what's happening behind the scenes, so that you feel confident going and diving into it yourself. If you can follow through with my workshop, then you're an embedded programmer. Like, you've gotten through to that point. Now you can start building on top of that some really cool devices of your own.
Yeah, so let me point out Kate Hello here, and by the way, Mike, I'm very excited about your workshop. I'm going to be attending it, so you'll at least have one person in there, but hopefully a lot more. Kate Hello, she is probably one of the coolest and amazing individuals I've ever met in my life, and she was working at ARM, believe it or not, back when I started at ARM. And then I think she left not too long after I joined, unfortunately. So I got to hang out with her a few times. I can't remember her role. She was director of something, but that didn't matter, right? She was just such an awesome person, and I cannot believe how far she has gone since these last 4 years. And so here she is now, CEO of Amini. I'm literally looking up on the side. Maybe we can get her on to talk more about that on another episode. But I mean, this keynote, I undoubtedly is going to be an amazing keynote. So I will be definitely tuning into that one. Then you kind of go down here and you see what Michael was talking about. You have a panel, you have a demo, which includes a roundtable discussion with Microchip, the future of resilient cities contest judges. So it looks like there's going to be a bit of a contest judging here. And I'm noticing here, I see Keenan Johnson. Keenan Johnson used to be one of our ARM innovators. And not only that, he, I believe, is the founder and CEO of the Ribbit Network. He also worked on these drones, which I think is an amazing project. God, we got to get Keenan on here. So think about like drones. I'm going to take this off for a second. One of the things that Keenan did and pioneered this particular, I want to say, functionality or innovation around drones. He said, okay, drones. One of the things that they do is they cannot fly for a long period of time. But think about all the space that's wasted in terms of the frame and the structure of the drone itself. So he literally built the frame out of batteries. And that was his play, right? And so now he was able to literally make his drones fly for long periods of times, work with like fire departments and emergency services, because these drones need to be in the air for longer periods of time, get to people, get the information they need. So Keenan has done a lot of stuff. He also worked for SpaceX for a while, and now he is the founder of this company called the Ribbit Network, where you kind of have this decentralized network of, they look like these little frog things with a bunch of sensors on it, but they're tailored for detecting pollution. And then it all connects to this network that you can go tap into and see what the pollution is like in your area, what the CO2 emissions are, and how you can possibly contribute to making it better, which is pretty cool. Among many other things that the Ribbit Network does, but that's one of the main things that I remember from the last time I talked to him when he was doing this. And back in the day, he was just 3D printing them. I wonder how far it's gotten now. So very cool to see some of these faces here and the people who are doing this stuff.
Real quick before moving on, Leon had a question for Michael.
Oh, yeah. Leon's asking, will the workshop be virtual too? So everything's going to be online. The whole Hackster Impact Summit is all online, including my workshop. So I say hands-on, but you're just going to watch me assemble things, and you can follow along if you want. But I'm not going to be able to like see what you're doing and be able to help you through it.
Yeah, let's also see here if it's free. I'm pretty sure it's free to attend. Yeah, free. There you go. So you can literally just go to that link that Gabe shared there, the ARM Software Dev events.hackster.io/Impact Summit 2023, and register with your Zoom account or register with your email address, and it's completely free. So go check that out. That's definitely worth it. 2 days of some amazing speakers and content. And then here you go. Boom, you have Kate Colo there. Yeah. And I'm not familiar with this gentleman, but I'm sure his keynote is also going to be amazing.
So come for the workshop, stay for all the rest of the sessions.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so that's Impact Summit. The next one I wanted to cover here was Leono Connect. Now, they don't have their website updated yet, and in fact, this is the first thing I've heard so far regarding this event. For those of you who are not familiar with Leono, rumor has it, started with 2 words or 3 words, Linux on ARM. So Leono, and their whole goal was to reduce the fragmentation and redundancies in the Linux on ARM space. And this means that ARM has been a huge part of Leono. I, in fact, used to work at Leono for roughly 4 years. And the Leono Connect event, what it does is it brings all of the employees remotely working for Leono, for all the partner companies that are kind of dedicated to this effort of reducing these redundancies and fragmentation across the ARM ecosystem, brings them together to all kind of like collaborate and work on the things that they need to do in person for 1 or 2 times a year. This year it was in London, and I was there, and it is an amazing event. Again, these are the engineers that I want to say like sit at the bottom of the stack. So you're talking about like the kernel engineers, power systems, firmware, stuff like that. And these are the people who work at Leono. I'm not even kidding. They're like the number 1 through like out of the top 10 Linux contributors in the entire world. Employees of Leono hold like 5 of those spaces. So 5 or more, like in terms of commits and in terms of full-blown contributions. So the engineers at Leono are top-notch people. Engineers and developers. I hope to be there again this upcoming year for Madrid in May. But once we get more information on this, hopefully we can bring someone on from Leono, maybe the events team, to come talk more about this. The Leono Connect event is definitely a good one to go to.
It's worth pointing out too that even though Leono started out to bring Linux to ARM, they've been really instrumental now with bringing Windows to ARM as well. Like they've been partnering with Microsoft to make all of that happen.
Yeah, here, let me zoom this in a little more. So we'll just read this little snippet here. Mark your calendars. Leono Connect is back, and it's heading to Madrid on May 14th through 17th, 2024. Prepare for an immersive tech experience discovering the future of ARM open source software with the best in-class industry leaders and engineers. And they are not kidding. Like I just said, they are some of the best in the world. Cool. And if you aren't already following them, you can go follow at Leono.org to get more updates on that. Anything else on the Leono Connect, Mike?
No. What do you want to talk about next? CUBECon?
CUBECon. All right. So CUBECon. For those of you who are not familiar with CUBECon, it is a Cloud Native Compute Foundation event, which is essentially, if you take it up to the highest level, a Linux Foundation event. So Linux
maybe the biggest Linux Foundation event. I think.
I want to say so.
Open Source Summit.
Oh, way bigger than Open Source Summit. Yeah, I mean, the first CUBECon that I went to was here in San Diego, and there was, I think, like 20,000 plus people there. So, wow. So way bigger than the Open Source Summit and ELC put together. Now, I went to the one this year out in Amsterdam, and blown away. All right. I think I posted, actually, I did post pictures. So if you're in our Discord server, maybe we can bring the Discord server up real quick, Gabe. If you're not in the Discord server, join it. If you are in there, you can scroll down and you can see the events area. The events area has a channel, CubeCon 2023. And this one, CubeCon EU. They do one in Europe and one in the US every year. And I think they also do one out in Asia as well. So you have 3 CubeCons a year addressing the 3 different areas of the world. And I posted some pictures. Was this just massive? I think the keynote hall alone was able to sit like 10,000 people or something like that. They had 10,000 seats. I showed up there. Let's take this off for a second. I showed up to the keynote hall. Maybe I can actually, no, I'm not going to share pictures. I showed up to the keynote hall and no joke, like they accidentally let me in. I was like the first person to get into the keynote hall. And then this lady walks up. She's like, how'd you get in here? And I was like, I just said I was here for the keynote and they let me in. And so I was sitting there for like,
that you were the speaker.
They asked if I was a speaker. That's what they asked. They're like, "Are you a speaker?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not a speaker." Like, how'd you get in here? And I'm just like, I just told them I was here for the keynote, and then they let me in.
That's the equivalent of like saying I'm with the band and getting backstage.
Yeah, I'm with the band, but they believe me, and I was sitting there, and it was just rad. I took so many cool pictures and some videos there, and if you go to the Discord and go to the CubeCon EU channel, you'll see that. This year. This year the North America one is in Chicago, Illinois, and we will be there in full force. And by we, I mean ARM. And by we, even more specifically, I mean the ARM developer program. And so you're going to be able to find Michael, myself, and various other members from the ARM developer team at this event. Not only are we going to have a bunch of demos that show off different technologies that are focused on kind of our infrastructure business, but we also are going to be showing off Gabe's developer program arcade. And that's going to be pretty fun as well. So you'll be able to come over to our booth, play Flappy Bots. You'll be able to play our Bot Blocks Tetris, and you're going to be able to identify yourself with one of our ARM bots. So basically, you're going to tell us what type of developer you are, and then our bots are also developers, believe it or not, and they have personalities of their own. And so, find out what team you are on by playing these games and letting our bots decide who they want to side with, as in who they want to side with you.
We should keep a count to see like which bot has the most people on their team at the end of the event.
We will.
Yeah,
yes.
There'll be a counter.
So there's going to be a little icon representing each bot, and it'll kind of look like a mobile notification where there'll be a small number next to each bot. So each time someone selects it, it'll identify it. And then at the end, you can just see exactly how many of each bot developers identify with.
Cool. Yeah. So to do this, when we were all together in Cambridge, we actually got the whole developer marketing team to sit down and come up with like personality traits and attributes and stuff for all of our different bots so that we could match that up to human developers. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm curious to see how developers will break my app again.
We will not break it, but you hopefully can put in that Easter egg for me.
I will actually try. It looks like time-wise, I'm finishing this faster than I thought I would, so I'll try to put the Easter egg in.
Yeah, at Open Sauce, we had an 8-year-old break our game. He found a loophole in the game that fortunately enough didn't allow him to like super win the game, but it did break the game, and we're going to turn that thing that 8-year-old discovered into an Easter egg. So see if you can discover what the 8-year-old discovered at CubeCon. Anyways, this event is going to go from November 6th through November 9th. Our team will be there. Now, on November 7th is when the expo floor opens. So November 6th is kind of like these side events, meetups, and things like that. November 7th is when the expo floor opens, and it will be open on 7th, 8th, and 9th of November. So we will be there full force again, talking developer program and talking what the developers what developer resources and cool stuff the team is working on. We have several talks. Sorry, did you want to say something? So you're shaking your head over there. All right. We have several talks that will be hosted by ARM over there as well as several partners who will be speaking there. We also will have an amazing looking booth. I've seen what the schematics look like. It looks like it's going to be a really cool looking booth, and a nice little hangout area. And I don't know, Mike, what else did you want to add to this?
Well, we're going to be doing some interviews there at our booth. So if anybody knows someone who's going to be at CubeCon, that's doing anything interesting with ARM-related technologies, send them our way and let us get them on a special episode of Innovation Coffee.
Awesome. Yes. Well said. Yeah, we will be doing Innovation Coffee episodes, and we will be doing partner interviews. So you can expect a lot of content to come out of this. If you can't experience it on your own by going there, you can still experience it vicariously through us, because as Michael said, we will be doing actually 5 Innovation Coffee episodes. So we're going to do opening day. So if you look at the calendar right here, and I can just zoom in a little bit on this one as well. If you look at the calendar here, we're going to do opening day on Tuesday, November 7th, and we're going to do a closing on November 7th, an opening day on November 8th, and a closing on November 8th, and then a full breakdown slash summary of the event itself on November 9th. And then throughout this, we're also going to be interviewing a bunch of partners as well, and we'll turn that into post-production material that we will publish later that Gabe will help us edit and make it look nice. But I mean, going through this, there's going to be just some amazing talks. There's going to be some amazing sponsors, some amazing partners and booths in the expo hall. Lots of cool technologies to explore and to see and to learn about. And I definitely look forward to this time attending a session or two if I get a chance to. And I can't wait to see the keynotes. There's going to be some really good ones. Let's pull that link up, Gabe, if we can, for CUBECON. So anyone who wants to go check out this site, you can. I think that there are some virtual components to this. So, you might want to just poke around the website and see if there's any virtual components. You can go to events.linuxfoundation.org/CubeCon-Cloud-NativeCon/North-America. Don't try to follow it that way. Just go search CubeCon.
I put it in the chat as well.
Oh, there you go. It's in the chat. You can click it in the chat, or just search CubeCon Chicago in Google. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so both the Leon and Kay in our YouTube chat are saying that they really wish that they had a chance to go hang out in our Discord. Let us know if you hear about a demo or a booth or anything you want us to go take a picture of for you. More than happy to go do that, give you a little bit of a experience of CubeCon if you can't be there in person.
And I'll tell you right now, Leon and Kay, both of you, if you are developers, which I'd imagine you are, or you wouldn't be listening to us talk about developer stuff, sign up to the developer program. Get in there, sign up to the developer program, and we'll get that link up here in just a second as well. It's arm.com/ you can just go developer program, but that works as well. We'll share it in the chat. Go sign up, because it would not be unheard of for us to, help our developers in the program get to events like this. So, if you're in the area and you have a reason to be at an event like this, if you're collaborating on something with us or something with your fellow developers in the program, it wouldn't be unheard of for us to showcase what you're working on at our booth. We've done it in the past, and it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, or even just get you tickets to the event. We often, when we sponsor an event, we get a whole bunch of tickets for people, and we don't have enough of our staff coming to use them all up. So, I've got extra tickets right now to All Things Open.
How many do you have?
I'm offering them out to our ambassadors, our developer program, people in the Raleigh area who work for ARM. But yeah, we often have that. So join the developer program, become an ambassador, if you want to do that. And those are one of the perks that you get.
How many extra tickets do you have, Mike, for All Things Open?
I think I have 2 or 3 tickets left for All Things Open.
2. Okay, well, there you go. So, Kay, Leon, if you're in the Raleigh area and you want to, possibly end up at All Things Open, we have some extra badges for that. So, boom. All right. So we've covered All Things Open. We've covered CubeCon. We've covered Leono Connect. We've covered the Hackster.io Impact Summit. We've covered ARM TV. And I think that now the last thing to cover.
There's one more event.
Which one's that?
The reason I can't go to CubeCon.
Yes, forgot.
GitHub Universe.
Gabe, you want to talk about that one, right?
I mean,
let's bring you in here.
Sure. Yeah, there's. Do you have the site up?
I just brought it up right now.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a fun, I hope, event in San Francisco, and their focus is going to be on AI developer experience, and I'm just looking forward to it. I use GitHub every day, and we use it internally for the learning paths to create what do you call it? The GitHub Actions, I believe, to create the learning path side. And there's all these different aspects that I would like to learn more about. So I'm looking forward to it. Other people are going to be there from ARM, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's not going to be the typical discovery event that I've been going to by myself for the last several events. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm going to say, Gabe, we will miss you at CUBECon, but I am also a little jealous that you get to go to this one because it looks like it's an amazing event as well. This GitHub universe, I mean, like GitHub has been in my life for like more than a decade now. And I remember, still silly story, but I remember trying to make sure I filled up every single little green cube in my, my timeline forever. And then like, you miss one and you're like, sure. And then also like trying to spell something out. I think at one point when I was working at 96 boards at Lenaro, I tried to make it so that my contributions spelled out 96 boards. But that also, I messed up one time there.
Well, the thing is, it's very easy to actually modify the dates on your commits to make up for those. You can alter things after the fact, and GitHub doesn't care.
In fact, there are scripts now where you can say exactly what you want it to look like, and it will just generate a GitHub repo for you with the commits and the right dates to fill that out.
No, but that's
if you want to cheat, now it's easy.
I'm not going to cheat. So at least I wasn't cheating back then.
Yeah,
so
it's same. But for filling up all the blocks, that's one thing. Yeah, it's kind of cheesy if you're trying to do that and then you cheat that. But for spelling something out or making like a smiley face, the script is acceptable in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it looks like there's just going to be a ton of stuff here at GitHub Universe. So Gabe will be covering that event while Michael and I are covering the CUBECon event. They're happening at the same time. Ours is from the 6th to the 9th. Gabe's is from just the 8th and 9th, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You'll be up in Seattle. Is that where this is?
No, it's in San Francisco.
San Francisco.
But it's not. No, it's not Moscone. It's some. It's the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts. I'm sure I butchered that.
Yerba Buena. You say it again, Gabe?
No.
All right. Okay. So that's GitHub Universe. I think now that we've taken a look into the future, let's take a look into the past. And I don't mean too far into the past. I mean this last week on ARM. And I have one here that I want to cover in particular, which is the Raspberry Pi release. And this is an amazing, I think I used the word amazing too much, but this is an amazing announcement here because Raspberry Pi is still kicking. It's still going. And they are not only still going, they are going strong. And this new Raspberry Pi, from what Gabe tells me, has doubled in terms of the processing or compute power and just overall abilities that the Raspberry Pi 4 had before. You think like, oh my goodness. And so I want Gabe to kind of give us the breakdown here, and then I'll kind of go over the spec.
Yeah, so as far as breakdown-wise, I can just say from personal experience, when I needed more power, I moved to things such as like the Orange Pi, which I brought to open source. But the problem with using boards such as that is that it just doesn't have the support that the Pi has. That's one of the huge advantages of using the Pi is that everyone works on it. So it's kind of like everything works on it, and you don't have to really bang your head against the table too much to get your applications running. Minus one of the things that they fixed, and I am so glad it is just an OS thing, is they finally moved to Wayland from X11. And I remember having to deal with some dependencies that caused me problems when trying to get some modern things running because they wanted to use Wayland and they just did all these things that were annoying. And also there are so many things that I built on the Pi where it was like it wasn't really powerful enough to run it. It would work and you'd get the thing you'd get it all running, but you'd say, I wish it just had a bit more power to do this properly. And now it does.
A bit more RAM. That was always the bottleneck I ran into.
Yeah, so let's look at the specs, Gabe, and good you point that out. And I also wanted to talk about this next, which is introducing. Oops, wrong one. I had one that was talking about the new Raspberry Pi operating system, Bookworm. So maybe we can talk about that next. But let's look at these specs. So, new Raspberry Pi 5. Key features include a 2.4 gigahertz quad-core 64-bit ARM Cortex A76 CPU. That's a mouthful. But how does that compare to the Raspberry Pi 4, Gabe? Do you recall?
So I don't know the exact. If you scroll down, it actually may say, because they did talk about the previous Pis in some of the areas, but I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
this is a great blog post, by the way. Anyone should come and check this out on the official Raspberry Pi.
Did we save that in the banner?
Oh yeah, I should post the. I did put it up on the screen.
Yeah, let's put the link there in Discord. I mean, in chat. So yeah, 2.4 gigahertz quad core, 64-bit, 876, and I can't remember, but I think that's not only an evolution in terms of the architecture, or I should say the what was it like? It was a different series of a Cortex A chipset in the last one, I'm pretty sure. So it was for sure, yeah.
I think it was only a dual core one also, if I remember right.
Well, you know what? Screw it. Let's just pull it up real quick.
Yeah, and if you want to see a good video breakdown of this, I'd recommend Gary Explains. He has one titled Raspberry Pi 5 launched 2 to 3 times faster than the Pi 4, I think.
Yeah, so here you have, it's a Cortex A72 at 1.8 gigahertz, and it was a quad core. So not only are you getting, the next evolution in terms of the Cortex A, you're also getting higher compute as well. And so then you have the variants of 1, 2, 4, and 8 gigabyte. Let's see what we're going with here in terms of the memory. Do they post memory here?
I think it starts at 8 gigabyte now.
Whoa! Why isn't it showing memory here? Am I missing it? All right, you have 4K output with looks like 60 FPS, 4K P60. Dual band, of course, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth included. That's a must-have nowadays for a board that size. You also have 3.0 and 2.0 USB ports, Type A ports. You have gigabit Ethernet, which is great. PCIe, Raspberry Pi standard, 40 GPIO, and so they've kept the real form. They've kept their Raspberry Pi, traditional form factor. So I'm guessing that in this particular case, I mean, just eyeballing it, right? Like it'll be reverse compatible with the cases. It'll be reverse compatible with all of the other peripherals and stuff that you can think of. The Raspberry Pi hats and their entire ecosystem.
So RAM,
it's got the same 40 pin GPIO headers on it. It looks like the USBs are all in the same place. But this one, interestingly enough, comes with a power switch, which none of the previous Raspberry Pis have.
Whoa! Where'd you see that? Where's the power switch?
That was it was listed right at the top in the specs, and I heard somebody else talking about it too.
Power button, hey, right there at the bottom. Okay, so it has a power button, so you can turn it off and you can turn it on without having to unplug it or plug it back in and you boot up. Yeah, and then here, Gabe, this is what you're saying. So a little history. Launched Raspberry Pi 4. Raspberry Pi 4 came with the Cortex A72 clocked at 1.5 gigahertz. It was roughly 40 times faster than the original Raspberry Pi from 2012 in many ways. The timing was perfect. In March the following year, school closed and millions of school children around the world were sent to study at home. I wonder what happened. Just kidding. As everyone knows, right? Mike, don't spit your drink out. All right, here we go. Next thing I want to cover here, unless Mike, you have anything else to add on here, because I don't want to run out of time. I also don't want to stretch this too much for every single one of these topics. I wanted to cover the Raspberry Pi new operating system.
Just real quick before moving on, I want to say I did look it up, and it seems like it's launching with a 4 gig and an 8 gig variant.
Oh, okay. So they didn't decide to go up to 16 gigs yet.
No, it sounds. Some blog post that says that they're hoping they will, but nothing official that I saw.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So, Gabe, what do you have to add on or to talk about with regards to this new Bookworm OS?
So there's a lot. If you click that link, it's also from their own. So the thing that I'm just excited about is Wayland. That's just going to remove a lot of my headaches. But it seems like they did a lot under the hood to improve it. So
now this is the replacement for Raspbian, or this is an alternative to Raspbian?
So it's still Raspbian, I believe. It's just they call them like what was the last one called? It was like Bull something.
Okay, so is it like a release code name?
I think it's a release code name.
Okay.
So I think this is, and don't quote me on this, but I believe it's still like under the umbrella of Raspbian. It's the new the new version.
Well, here they say at the very beginning, say it's an odd numbered year, so there's a new major Debian release, and we are now releasing the corresponding version of Raspberry Pi OS. This year's Debian release is called Bookworm. So because of the Debian release Bookworm, that's what they're going based on. So
Bullseye with the last one. That's what I was thinking.
Yes, but so the Bookworm is the Debian release that Raspbian is built upon or forked off of, and that's why they're calling this Bookworm.
Okay.
So it's most likely still going to be a Raspbian. Now, granted, I have not read this blog yet, so if you go and read this blog, I'd imagine that's what they're gonna break down, is that this is the Raspbian fork of Bookworm.
And I keep saying Raspbian. I don't even know if they use that term anymore, because like the official blog, it's just Raspberry Pi OS. Do they just call it Raspberry Pi OS now?
I think they do now, yeah. But
I'm old school. I'm gonna keep calling it Raspbian.
Raspbian.
No, I'm gonna still call it Raspbian. I'm old school. I think that's Debian release code name. Yeah, so Leon is just commenting on that, and yes, we figured it out. I guess I didn't see what you wrote. Maybe if we were watching the chat, we would have seen that you figured it out before us. But yes, Bookworm is the Debian code name for their odd year major release.
And for those who don't know, all Debian releases are named after a character from the Toy Story franchise of movies.
Oh, wow!
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Now you know. All right, cool. So anything else that we want to cover from last week, Mike?
I wanted to cover a series of blogs that's on our community site. So if you go over to community.arm.com/ARM community blogs, there's this 3-part series of optimization work that's going into .NET for running on ARM. And it's really cool because they're using a JIT compiler, which is a just-in-time compiler. And that's something you can do with these intermediately compiled languages like .NET and Java. They compile down to a bytecode, and then when you run it on a specific computer, then it'll convert that bytecode into the native instructions. And when it does that, it can take advantage of the hardware's optimizations to produce basically better compiled code when it's running. So I've seen this a lot with Java. There's a bunch of Java companies doing this. It's really cool to see it happening with .NET now. I know it's happening with Python. I know Rust is doing a lot of stuff with this kind of optimization. But some really cool things is ARM puts out more and more instructions that can do things like SIMD, the single input, multiple data, I think it is. These extensions that let you do more with a single cycle on the CPU. These languages start to take advantage of it. And they can do things that you can't do with just a static compiled language to optimize that. So Alan Hayward has written this 3-part series for us. It's really cool. It's really in-depth. You don't necessarily have to follow all along to get kind of the concept of it, but it's a really neat look at what's actually happening in these languages with these .NET applications under the hood when you run them, and what people are doing to make those run even faster on ARM. So I would encourage everybody to go take a look at that. It's a really cool thing that they're doing.
Awesome. Now, Gabe, last but not least, I think, unless you have anything, Michael, anything last things from you, I think it's about time we close this out. I don't want to drag it on too much. We had a chance to look at all of the cool stuff that's upcoming in terms of, remove this, in terms of the events that we'll be at coming up in the next month or so. We had a chance to talk about the virtual presence that Michael will have at the Impact Summit, as well as his presence at the All Things Open events, CUBECon, ARM TV, the cool live stream that we're going to be having on the 19th of this month, so literally next week. And we'll be interviewing Dr. Ruman Chowri. So unless there's anything else we want to talk about, Gabe, you got anything?
Nope.
We're all good. Michael, last things from me. I'm going to close this out.
No, just if it's shameless plug time.
Shameless.
Go to community.arm.com and check out all of the blogs there. Go to our subreddit /r/ARM software dev. Gabe posts stuff there all the time that he finds that's really cool, stuff that's happening. And of course, as always, join our Discord. Follow along at our events channels there. Find us in the chat channels, in our topical channels. If you're interested in embedded or AI or robotics, you can find us all on there, as well as over 100 ARM experts. Now we've signed up to the ARM experts program, right, Robert?
Oh, mic drop. Yes, 100 experts. Not only 100 experts, but you're also joining 5 think about 6,000 or 7,000 other developers. So the Discord has almost 6,000 members in it, but there's 6,000 or 7,000 total members of our program, and that's huge. Not to mention, or not to forget to mention, the fact that our server is thoroughly vetted in terms of the prune rate. So, you go into our server and compared to other servers where you get these massive 10% prune rates, like there's only like 20 people out of these 6,000 members in the server that are genuinely not active. And we prune the server quite frequently, though it's almost not necessary because of our prune rate is so low. But yeah, that means that when you go there, you are going to find other people who are using Discord and who are active. And I'm looking at the channel, and it looks like I have two mentions already. So there's definitely stuff happening in there. Well, cool, Mike. Thanks for the plug. Gabriel, any plugs from you? He already plugged Reddit for you, so.
Yeah, right. I think I'm ready.
Excellent.
Gabe was just plugging the developer hub too. We missed that, but Gabe, if you want to put that back up, our developer program or our developer hub has all of our new learning paths on there. You can go check those out. They cover a huge variety of topics that kind of get you started, help you learn new topics or technologies. And it's all open source. So all of the source for these learning paths is on our community GitHub org, and it's open to anybody to contribute. So if you know a technology that's not being covered in one of our learning paths right now and you want to contribute that to us, go right ahead. It's completely open. There's a whole learning path for how to contribute a learning path. It's made it super easy.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to close this episode out now. First and foremost, thank you everyone who's watching, whether you watch live or are watching on demand. We're grateful for you spending this time with us. Michael, my co-host here, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your contributions to this live stream. Gabriel, our resident producer here, who is the wizard behind the curtain, helping us make sure that the production looks good for this whole venture that we're doing. And then, of course, for all of your contributions to the developer program and to all of the stuff that our developers are doing, around the ARM ecosystem, building on ARM. Thank you for being the best part of our community. You builders out there, you innovators who are doing amazing things on ARM. So thank you all. Now, as a reminder, if you enjoyed this episode, I just want to make sure that you hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, because we do go live every single week, every Thursday at 5 p.m. UTC, which is 10 a.m. Pacific. We look forward to seeing you next week. We do have a guest next week. It's going to be Roberto Lopez Mendez. I believe I said his name right there. And we have a topic around is it AIML agents?
It's large language models in gaming. So
large language models in gaming. So that will be an exciting one. I know that we've had some conversations with some folks in our office hours about this, and so hope to see you all there. Well, we meet with Roberto, and Roberto is, I don't think I mentioned this, but from ARM. So it will be a very interesting episode. Michael and I will be there. Of course, Gabe here behind the scenes. So we see you next week. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your week, and take care. Be safe out there. This is us signing out. Innovation Coffee. Bye.
See ya.